You are on the Western Pizza guest hotline, and I am staring at the Western Pizza, which isn't open right now, Glenn, and starving. And it's perfect to get a pie tonight and watch baseball or any of the Greek favorites you love from Western Pizza. Did you watch the baseball game last night?
Barney, so I'm not a baseball fan. Okay, so let's get that right out.
You're a sports fan.
I'm a sports fan, and I'm a fan of playoff intensity. I'm watching every Game 7 in the NHL. Don't care the teams. Anytime it gets down to that, it's and now because Canada's in it, I'm waving the flag. And I just a couple of things. One is I'm getting kind of tired. I've done a full day of my errands and things like that, and we're in inning 14, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not a baseball fan. I'll watch the recap, and I turn it off, and I went, I'm going to bed. It's about 10 o'clock Pacific time, 9:30, quarter to 10 Pacific time. I think I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed early, do a little reading, and then call it a night. And then I walk around the room twice, and I go, no, I can't do it. Turn it back on, and now we're going down to inning 17, and they keep walking. What's his name?
Ohtani.
Ohtani, yes, and I'm fascinated by this story. Like, are they going to do that the rest of the series? Like, does LA have a base runner automatically every time he's up there? Like, you almost have to, or you're giving away a home run every time. Anyway, I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, I sort of feel like, when you're in line for something and it's a super long line, and about halfway through it, you're an hour in, an hour and a half in, and you go, I'm going to bail. And then you think, I've already invested an hour and a half, and you look at the line and you go, I'm more than halfway there. I'm hanging in because I'm getting these tickets or whatever it is you're in line for. And I felt like that watching this game. It's like I've invested 14 innings. I've got to see how this ends now.
Yeah.
So, end of this whole long story, I finally gave in at the end of the 17th inning.
Oh, really?
Yes. I finally gave in at the end of 17, and I'm going, okay, that's it. It's almost midnight or whatever it was, quarter to 12 here. And I go, that's it. I'll find out what happens and who wins tomorrow. And the very next inning, LA wins. So anyway.
Yeah. You came so far, Glenn. You came so far, and I was just dozing in and out because I had it on in the TV in the bedroom, and I'm going, okay. Well, then I wake up and I'm like, oh, still going. Okay, I'll watch a bit, and then I doze off. It was a lot like watching golf. That's why I love watching golf. Sometimes you doze in, you doze out, and then I happen to wake up when Freeman hits the home run, and then I look at the clock purposely, and I'm like 12:50 a.m. And one of the reasons I wanted to stay up and watch it, and again, you don't have to be, like you said, a baseball fan or whatever, just of sport, to find out what was going to be the next strategy, because they're almost out of pitchers. Like, are they going to put in Bieber, who's starting tonight? And then the Blue Jays had no bench players left. So then I got a chance to ask Arash, which I'm going to play again in a bit here. I'm like, what happens if a guy dislocates his ankle or something, catastrophic where he can't play? And then he's like, well, you got to go to one of your pitchers and put him in to play, third base or whatever. And I'm just like, I have to watch this to find out where the next chess piece is going.
Yeah, it really was that kind of game, wasn't it? Like, every time I was ready, and I watched all the extra innings from my bed too, basically. and I kept trying to say, stop, just turn it off, go to bed. Anyway, every time I did that, Buck Martinez would come up with something that would keep me interested in a way that I would think, oh, right, they had a pinch runner. He can't come back in. That's right. To your point. And then I thought, well, now what do they do? And then they started talking in the 16th inning about how the pitching staff was running out. There was no one left in the bullpen, and they were going to have a player, a fielder or something, pitch And I thought, well, if that happens, I've got to stay up to watch that. I mean, this is the World Series. So anyway, I it's one of those games. Like, I'll guarantee you this: in the CFL playoffs, there will not be a 5.5-hour game. I promise you that.
It'd be awesome to see, though. It'd be very interesting to see. And then just to that point, Andrew Albers, former major leaguer from Saskatchewan here, who I know, had him on the show again. He's like, he thinks there was no way they were going to a player to pitch. They were going to find a pitcher of somehow. He's like, you don't throw that game away in the World Series where you are. That lady's like, you're finding an arm that can pitch, right, and then you rejig things today. But Glenn, what if they go late today and they got to play again tomorrow? Right? Like, that's where I now I'm glued. I gotta watch this. Maybe I'm gonna have coffee ready, maybe a few Red Bull or something like that. But yeah, it's just, as a sports fan, I think it was just fascinating to watch. As a sports fan, another awesome thing to watch, as we segue, is the Grey Cup, and it's coming back to Saskatchewan in 2027, and you love that on a personal level because look at those jerseys.
I called, or I took that picture on a screenshot, and I text all my hockey buddies, and I said, now here's a hockey line with one spare. Like, you got 5.27s. Yeah. And they all knew exactly what I was talking about. We wouldn't score many goals, but man, would we hustle. It's cool. You know, as soon as the announcement was made, I had my phone lit up because I played there, yes, but also it's the reputation of the province, the reputation of the team, the facilities. I think that's all part of this. But my phone lit up with people saying, "How do I get tickets? Are there, when they made the announcement, does that mean tickets are available now?" And I'm talking about people that live in Vancouver and Calgary and different spots across the country. It didn't happen when Winnipeg was announced. It didn't happen when Calgary was announced. Those are Calgary's a cool city to travel to, and it's something about Saskatchewan hospitality. It's something about the party, the facilities. I think the stadium is a big part of this draw too. But honestly, I'm texting a ton of people saying, no, tickets are not on sale yet. Come on, it's 2 years. It's 2 years away. Yeah, so it's great. I think it's this is the thing. Whenever I go into the job that I have when it comes to the Grey Cup is to prepare for a TV show, and there's always different concerns, different stadiums and things like that. Not in Saskatchewan. In Saskatchewan, I know the volunteers will be there. I know the facilities will be ready. It's great. It's great for the province, great for the country, and great that we know this early out. That they're naming them.
They could do a solid and announce the halftime show really early as well when it comes to 2027. That's what people will want. Okay, let's talk about football. Let's talk about the game here. Trevor Harris, I didn't want him. You know me, I didn't want him in the game. I didn't want any of the starters playing, but looked good against BC. Glenn, I think if he stays in, could be a little bit of a walk for the Riders.
Well, he did look good, and those that were making the argument that he should play, this makes their argument. It's yes, he had the timing down. Guys like Schaefer Baker got involved in a big way. He needed to continue to work with his chemistry with Schaefer Baker since he's returned. I think they're going to have, depending on who's available health-wise, some tough decisions to make in the receiving corps for the West Final. But if everyone's available, there's going to be some tough decisions there. And this makes that argument. I'm still with you, Barney. I wouldn't have played him, but because
here's the run, Glenn. If you're watching the stream, this is where I get scared on the run.
Right? I mean, I was in the booth, and I would do it with either quarterback, whether it was Nathan or Trevor. Yeah. I would have been like, no, slide, please. from a TV show perspective, we need Trevor Harris playing. We need Nathan Rourke playing and Vernon Adams playing healthy. And my first comment when that play happened was, nice run as he bailed out to the right of that formation, but even better decision to get his butt down down early. So yeah, some tough decisions to make if everyone's healthy and available in the receiving core. I still say this, though, with regards to play and rust versus rest and all that. If Trevor starts in the first two series in the West Final a little slow because there was a week off, then did it matter what he did against BC in the first quarter or first half of that game? It didn't, right? Like, because if that's what he's got another week off now where he's not going to play, and people say, well, that's 2 weeks, that's more. And I'm going, not for a 30-something year veteran who, takes all his reps and mentally takes all of Jake Mayer's reps too. And, is going to be prepared for a West Final, guaranteed.
When you watch we can tee up the semifinals on Thursday when we get to speak again. But going back to last week, Hamilton, what happens in Ottawa, which a lot of people probably thought it was going to be a parting of the ways with Bob Dice. Calgary taking care of business against Edmonton, and then that Winnipeg Montreal game, bit of a weird one there as well. When you recap the games from the week, does anything jump out at you?
Well, Winnipeg, again, being sort of a wild card in these playoffs, I think that's interesting to me. And it showed a little bit there, kind of like in the Saskatchewan game, when the Riders are playing backups in a lot of positions and still giving the Lions everything they can handle. Yeah. And same can be said, in the Winnipeg game. It's like you go, okay, now I'm really confused as to where to put my sprinkling in the playoff rounds because I don't do that, but those who do, yeah. And I know you do, Barty. But that one was interesting. No surprise in Ottawa from the news perspective or the game. This is now we look at and the conversation goes to who's available, like who at the end of the season is going to be a candidate for that job. We talked about Mueller, yes, for sure. I'm sure he'll be talked to. I'm not sure he wants to leave, and would leave.
I agree.
And, yeah, and Henry Burris is a name that came up.
Wow,
got some coaching experience down south. Has, of course, great experience in Canada. Played in Ottawa, knows that whole city and what it's all about. And I didn't read or didn't listen to the interview, but I heard him talking about it or was asked of it, and he never said he wasn't interested. He didn't exactly jump all over it, but he never said, I'm not interested in that job. So, maybe that's a candidate. Other than that, though, it's a weird year because there's so many young coordinators in the league. And the question there is, for that job in Ottawa, can they take a chance on a really young guy with very little, if any, head coaching experience when they've had a couple of years now that they've struggled?
Do you think then they're going to really take their time on it?
Yeah, I think they'll be, as soon as the Grey Cup is over, they will be interviewing people. And I don't think they'll leave any rock unturned. They're going to look high and long, and they're going to look down in the States. They're going to look at Young and some of the, Rick Campbell is a guy that, do you go back to someone who knows the job, yeah, but you're going to have to also sell that even though he's moved on from a few of these jobs, do you want to recycle another guy? So yeah, I think there'll be a long list, Barney. I think they're going to get right at it right away. Probably be, if you think about it, probably be the only head coaching opportunity in our league. in the offseason. I don't think there's anybody else on the hook like that. Mark Killam, I don't think is.
Yeah. Do you think we'll hear from Trey Ford now that the season's done for the Elks?
Well, I will reach out, and for sure our listeners will hear all that I will be allowed to say about that conversation, because I am very interested in to hear where his mindset is. It'll probably, and I'm guessing at this point because I haven't talked to him yet, but it'll probably be wait until they discuss Cody and what they want to do there. If they're going to bring him back and it's going to be, business as usual from last year, then does he want to move on, or is he okay with to continue to learn from Cody? And what other teams, is this Zach's last year in Winnipeg? Is Drew Brown the answer in Ottawa? These are just questions I throw out there that Trey Ford is probably pondering.
Yeah. Like I said, we get to regroup, and we can kind of tee up the semifinals on Thursday when we get to chat again. I know you probably got to get ready, get settled in for Game 4. Dodgers and Blue Jays. The sicko in me wants to see this one go another 14, 15, 16 innings.
Barney, the other thing is the LA fan, right? The LA fan gets that bought a ticket for that game, and I'm sure they paid top dollar, got 2 games. They basically got 2 games in one, and at the end of it all, their team won. I mean, that is like a bonus ticket like no other. And when we're talking the 2027 Grey Cup halftime show, not the guy who sang the anthem last night, the Canadian anthem. Not that guy.
Yeah. No way, Jose, as they say. The other thing about is we speak about the LA thing, and if big cities, New York, LA, Chicago, any of them, and you would know this, Toronto, for instance, there's so many things to do, right? And mind you, it is a World Series. It's the Dodgers. And if anyone's ever driven in LA, it is awful. You take the Long Island Expressway or driving in LA, I don't know which one. It is awful. So lots of people, I saw a lot of people on social media yesterday are going, I can't believe they didn't sell this game out. I can't believe this. You better believe the game was sold out. It's just LA. Either people are stuck in traffic or they got hung up doing something else. Let's just spend it was like 30-some degrees. Let's just spend a few more hours on the beach. The game is sold out. It's just there's just so much to do there. It's people don't their give a rip meter, could be down.
Yeah, and it's sold out, and what? Probably the basic low nosebleed ticket was over $2,000, $3,000, whatever. I mean, we're talking like big money for World Series. And listen, if they were stuck in traffic and missed the first even 8 innings, they didn't miss anything.
You could have had a nap. You could have flown from somewhere, landed. Yeah, it was all good. Okay, let's look forward to chatting on Thursday again, Glenn.
Sounds good. Thanks, Barney.